I am gonna fair warning. I have been quite sick this week. I've had a really bad cold, but I am gonna try and power through. When I say I try and do a live stream every single week, I mean it. And so I'm here. I can't guarantee how long my voice will hold up. I actually did a live stream with April yesterday, and I just had a coughing attack. It was terrible, coughing, sneezing. So I'm actually feeling a little bit better today. So hopefully that won't be the case here. But if I have to cut the live stream a little bit short today, hopefully you understand. But today we're going to be talking all about how to handle brands with demanding feedback. Let me know in the chat if that's ever something that you experience when you're working with brands on sponsored campaigns, that they've ever come back to you with requests like, hey, you need to reshoot this, or you need to edit this, or whatever. And you're over here thinking like, seriously, is the brand really caring about that? Is that something that like is really going to make or break this campaign? But this is actually has been a major sticking point for a lot of creators I know. And it actually has turned them off to working with brands in the past because, I did not start my broadcast on my Instagram live stream. There we go. um, so, this has actually, been something that has made them not want to work with brands because they just don't want to deal with the feedback process. And, they feel like brands try to get them to change kind of the creative thrust of the piece, and it changes it, and it doesn't feel like it's, something that the creator would normally post on their page and everything like that. So it is a serious thing. And so I wanted to talk about it, primarily because I actually posted a TikTok about this very thing, and it went viral for me at least, which was like 50,000 views. People really, this resonated with people a lot. So that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it. Hey D, what's going on? We got Viper in the chat. What's up, Viper? Thanks for tuning in, man. And we've got Blossom in the TikTok chat. Let me pull up my Instagram chat to make sure that is working, because I did not press start on that one. There we go. I'm finally live there. Let me turn down the volume here. So I did want to kick it off. If you have any questions, please leave it in the chat. But I did want to start it off by talking about a couple of things that I wanted to say about this idea. So creators, if brands have ever given you crazy feedback on your sponsored posts, let's first talk about how the feedback process actually works, especially when you're working with an agency. So let's say that you deliver your content for review on a Monday, and the agency has hired 10 other influencers. And those other people may not deliver their content until Friday, which means that the agency is going to wait until everyone has submitted their drafts to send everything over to the brand at the same time in one big package. They're not going to send it piecemeal because that's going to annoy their client. And the agency is not always going to tell you that they do this type of thing, but I'm just giving you this behind the scenes honest take on what actually happens in real life. And so I think that, here you are over, here you are feeling like, what's taking the brand so long? I delivered this on Monday, and then it gets to the following Friday and the next Monday, and you still don't have any feedback. And, for you, you have been waiting a week. And in reality, the agency just delivered the feedback to the brand on a Friday. The brand probably didn't even look at it. And then here comes Monday, and then that's when they're first looking at it. And then it may take them another week or 2 weeks or something to actually deliver feedback to you. And so here you are. And so this is what happens, honestly, when a lot of creators say like, man, the brand is taking forever to get back to me, when in reality, they probably had it in their hands half of the time that you thought they had it in their hands. And I know this can be annoying, but having run an influencer marketing agency, this is actually how things happen, which is that, the important thing to understand about this is that when this is what the agency pitched to the brand as their value proposition, like, hey, I understand that, you don't want to like handle the influencer marketing logistics yourself. Hire us. We will do it for you. So that's the pitch that the agency has given the brand. And so it is not a seamless experience for the agency to be sending, okay, here's this influencer stuff. Here's this influencer stuff. Here, okay, give us feedback. Give us feedback on that one. And so it's just like ping, ping, ping over and over and over every different days, different times. That's not what the brand wants. The brand wants, this thing delivered to them in this tiny, neatly wrapped package. Here's all 10 influencers. Here's all their draft content. Provide all the feedback at once, and then we will go out and deliver it to each influencer. And so that is how things work. And so oftentimes, I have found that actually understanding as an influencer that this is happening, this is what's happening, will alleviate a lot of the anxiety you feel around why you feel like it takes brands so long to get back to you. It's not personal. It's not like they're like purposely trying to, delay the timeline and annoy you. It's just like, this is how business works oftentimes. And so, yes, it would be very helpful if they told you this type of thing, but I wanted to kind of, again, pull back the curtain to help you understand how some of this stuff works. We've got Iman Kaban tuning in from Switzerland. Thanks for tuning in. We've got Yutshua joining from the IG chat. Harris, what's going on, y'all? And fourth born child, Bryce Root. We got the other advice, Rafi. What's going on? Bryce says, yeah, dropping knowledge even under the weather. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying my best. I'm still feeling a little congested, but I am here. Harris Papery, thank you for all your teachings. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We've got 11 people joining on TikTok. It's popping up. Jose, what's going on, Jose? Jack Miller, thanks everyone for tuning in, guys. Daljimara says, yes, I work in email marketing with CPG brands, retailers, and restaurants. Feedback can take weeks. You hear that? Weeks. So we've got some testimonial here from Daljimara saying that this is true. This is what happens. So just removing that kind of frustration aspect, I have found that makes this stuff a lot easier. Okay. So I have a few more things I want to talk about, but if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. Creators, if brands have ever given you crazy feedback on your sponsored posts, let's now talk about why you need to ask them ahead of time how long the feedback process takes, because that might change your approach of how you actually create the content. So early on, this actually happened to my wife and me so many times where we, let's say we started working with the brand in early December, shot all the content with like our holiday decor in the background, and then the content didn't get approved to post until January. So instead of trying to creatively edit the content so it won't look stupid when we actually post it, we now ask the brand ahead of time, how long does your typical feedback process take? And if the brand says, well, it can take up to 3 weeks because our legal team is kind of backed up, well, then you need to plan accordingly and maybe remove some of that seasonal decor before you shoot to save yourself the headache, right? I can't tell you how many times this has happened. We've shot it with our Christmas tree in the background, or shot it with, some other Halloween decor or something. And then it doesn't get approved till early November or after January or whatever. And then the brand is like, oh, you need to reshoot that. Obviously, if that's the case and it's their fault, then they're going to have to pay for that. But, it's just a headache for all involved. Whereas if you can have the foresight, you're a professional creator working with brands, and doing sponsored content is a primary way in which you make money. You need to lean on your own experience and expertise to be like, hey, I'm going to actually shoot this. I'm going to remove some of this decor. I'm going to, this part of my living room or this part of my kitchen or wherever, and ensure that none of that stuff is going to be included in the content. And you can tell that to the brand, and, they're going to actually look at you as an expert and be like, wow, that's actually smart. Now knowing, that, the legal process may take a couple weeks. It's one thing if it's a holiday campaign. This is tough. It's like, yes, it's like a holiday campaign, and then it's like gets delayed and you can't even post it. So like that's obviously on the brand, or that's obviously on the agency. But don't be afraid to like lean on your own expertise as a creator and tell the brand like, hey, this has happened to me a few times in the past. I'm going to approach it this way, knowing that that's how long the feedback process takes. And I think that that's going to be best for all involved, right? Oh my goodness. I'm actually doing surprisingly well. I haven't even coughed once. When I say I had a coughing attack yesterday, I'm not exaggerating. Okay, so creators, if brands have ever given you crazy feedback on your sponsored posts, let's now talk about why you need to not take their feedback personally. Yeah, you might think it's stupid and doesn't make sense, right? Why they're asking to remove zero point 0.5 seconds of footage where you don't look happy, or there's like a brand logo way in the background that you can barely see. But this is just the way it works. They have to protect themselves legally, and it's a losing battle if you try to fight them on it. Now, what I'm not talking about is when the brand takes issue with your creative execution, right? And they give you kind of ambiguous notes like, oh, it's just not what we had in mind. Well, then you're totally within your rights to push back a little bit, and kind of probe them for more explanation. And you can make your case for why you think the way you brought this to life will actually perform well with your audience. But when you can realize that their feedback is not a personal attack on you, and rather it's a necessary part of completing this business transaction, it's going to be easier to stomach, right? So I can't tell you, honestly, this is one of the reasons why having an agency as kind of the intermediary between the brand and the creator can oftentimes be helpful. Because, sometimes like when, we've received feedback from the brand on influencers' assets in the past that have been like really harsh. Like, the influencer's kid looks like their smile doesn't look real, or they don't look happy, or I don't like the way that they said this, or they like just like weird stuff, kind of harsh. The brand is not used to like kind of softening the feedback, and when there's no intermediary to kind of package the feedback up in a way that's palatable to the creator, that's where you see heads being butt often. And, that was one of the primary things that we did in our role as an agency is like, helping make sure that, we can deliver the proper feedback, or at least be able to push back to the brand sometimes. We viewed it as our role for the agency to be like, hey, this feedback that you have, those things are, reasonable. We'll pass those through to the influencer. But these three other things, like that's not really something that we're not going to reshoot for that, or we're not going to do that. And then oftentimes the brand will be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I understand it. Right. But the brands are just accustomed to like, kind of word vomiting whatever they want and saying, hey, these are the kind of all the things that we'd like. And then you can push back. Right. So you don't have to feel like you're beholden to every piece of feedback that they give you. You can, within reason, push back on a few of these things and be like, hey, here's why I believe that we should keep it the way it is. And sometimes the brand will be like, thank you for educating me on that. I didn't realize that was the case. Let's move forward with that. Right. Where oftentimes, like, I have found that when you can come to a compromise with the brand, right? Where you actually say, hey, yeah, I can totally help you with like these three things, but these three things we're going to keep. Oftentimes they'll be cool with that, right? A lot of times brands are not asking you to do 100% of the edits. So oftentimes they are, but sometimes they'll just be like, hey, I appreciate, you working with me on this. And yeah, let's move forward with those edits. And, sometimes the other thing too, when it comes to how far you should go, when let me rephrase. Let me actually take a sip because I feel a cough coming on. Pardon me. Okay. I'm trying to like not cough and sneeze. Whoo! I'm doing pretty well though, guys. What do you think? Okay. So when it comes to gosh, I'm sorry. Ooh, all right. I think I properly stifled it. I'm really trying, guys. I've got my Ricola cough drops right here. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. So when it comes to trying to make a decision about how much you'll actually do when it comes to reshoots and revisions for a brand when you're working with them on sponsored content, it's really a helpful perspective to have, where it's like, even if they're asking for something that goes beyond what was agreed to in the letter of the law, the agreement, oftentimes you can engender amazing vibes if you do them a favor, right? I'm not talking about reshooting it. What I am talking about is like if you only had one round of revision in the contract that was agreed to, and after the first round, you did everything they asked for, they came back with like onesie, twosie little, additional requests. It makes no sense whatsoever to be like, there was only one round of review. If All it's going to take is literally 15 seconds for you to go into your editing software and change what they're asking for. Sometimes things fall through the cracks, or one additional person on their team saw it and asked for an additional edit. Maybe the brand manager saw it and they didn't previously, right? It makes no sense to like dig in your heels and say, no, I'm not going to do that, right? If it's literally going to take you 15 seconds or 30 seconds, right? Like, I think too many creators like have this mindset where it's just like they feel as though they need to push back because they feel as though the brands are trying to take advantage of them. And oftentimes it's not malicious. They're not trying to take advantage of you. It's just that something fell through the cracks. And the point is that don't view this deal as the only partnership that you're ever going to do with the brand. If you dig in your heels on this first transaction, on this first, partnership, what is the likelihood of them wanting to work with you again? They're going to think in their heads like, wow, Justin was really difficult on this very first deal. I don't know if we want to work with him again on the future because he's being so difficult on just like this onesie twosie little thing that we're asking for. Within reason, obviously. If they're asking you to reshoot or they're asking you to do all these other crazy things that they didn't capture in the first round of revisions, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, if it's like going to help your contact win and potentially win you future business, do that all day long, right? Irene says, you're doing great and I'm loving your masterclass. I appreciate it. We've got someone in the Facebook chat. I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user. Maybe you can tell me your name. They're saying, I'll reshoot once. After that, and if it goes by the guidelines, I don't. I, however, sometimes suggest different ways to do the content that will align more with my audience and trending, but that's usually upfront. If they change the campaign strategies or a different hashtag or a slogan, I change that too. Or I charge too. I think you meant I charge too. Yeah, so I absolutely agree that, if they're changing strategies midway through and it requires you to like reshoot it or something like that, obviously you should be charging an incremental compensation for that. But if it's like changes to a caption or changes to a hashtag or something like that, like that's just part of it. Like you don't need to like nickel and dime them, right? Y'all, we got Jay Klaus in the TikTok chat. What's up, Jay? I just spent 3 days basically with Jay, a bunch of other amazing creators at the Creator Economy Expo in Phoenix. I just got back. I did a presentation on how to craft a sponsorship pitch that no brand will ignore. And it was a blast. I had such a great time, and I had to outrun my cold there. Luckily, I didn't. I was able to give my speech without like coughing and hacking and everything. But it was a ton of fun. It was so great to meet a bunch of like in real life friends that I've known on the internet for the last 2 years or whatever. I haven't gone to a conference in a long time. And so, yeah, I'm going to be speaking at VidFest at the end of May in just a couple weeks, as well as VidCon, which I'm really excited about in June. So yeah, I'm stoked for conferences to come back. I've just missed like meeting people in general, meeting people in real life and interacting. It was great. Jay and I actually hosted a dinner in Phoenix. It was so fun. We had like 16 people total. Yeah, it was just highly recommended if you grow your business and learn new strategies and tactics and stuff around monetizing and stuff like that. I highly recommend going to some of these conferences because I have found them to be hugely helpful for me. And now I can call Jay my BFF. So, all right, we got a question here. Great Ghost 99 says, do we need to include the feedback into the contract? So yes. So I absolutely recommend including how many rounds of feedback that are going to be accepted into the contract when you're working with a brand. And so the reason for that is that you don't want to leave it open-ended, right? You don't want to say, oh, sometimes the brands will have language in there like, oh, reshoots or revisions will be completed until content is satisfactorily it's at a satisfactory place for the brand or whatever. And like you never want to have language in there like that where it's open-ended. Typically 1 round of revision is normal, 2 is max. Beyond that, you want to have some language in there. Usually what I recommend. So this is the other really important thing to it's really important to split hairs around this piece around making a distinction between re-edits and reshoots, right? Re-edits are very simple changes that you can make to a caption or simple edits to a video that are easy to do, right? That's re-edits. A reshoot is when the brand is asking you to to completely reshoot the video or reshoot a certain part for an arbitrary reason, right? Where they didn't like the color of your shirt or they didn't like the way in which you said XYZ, right? So it's one thing actually where if you pronounce the name of the brand or the product wrong, or you said the key message wrong, or you actually did something that was, not in alignment with the approved creative brief. That's one thing, right? But if they're asking you to reshoot for some random reason, like that's something that they need to be paying you more money for, right? And so that's why it's important to like enumerate this language and articulate that in the agreement so that everyone's on the same page. Because this is oftentimes the single biggest point of contention when you work with the brand is that you think you did it right and they don't. And so you have to look at the agreement. What does it say? Right. And so that's why it's important to do the work ahead of time and actually make sure that that language is to your advantage, or at least, at a reasonable point where you both can, you're both, there's like a compromise, right? But it's important to like do that ahead of time. Leron in the chat said, never heard of CEX until I saw your tweet. Keep dropping epic knowledge bombs. Thanks for tuning in, man. Leron says, if I make an error, I reshoot at my own expense. But if they want a new voiceover or didn't like a scene, it comes at a reshoot fee. Yeah, so I think this is a great mindset to have. What Leron said is that, if you make an error, you got to own up to that. If you said the name of the brand wrong or you said the name of the product wrong, right? Like that is your fault. You need to own that. You need to put your tail between your legs and go back to the brand and say, and own up to it and say, I made a mistake. I apologize. I will reshoot that. Not a problem. But here's these other reasons why, like I'm not going to do these just arbitrary edits for you for free. Right. So I like that framework. Sweet Melly Bakery. What's going on, Melissa? Laura Ann, thanks for tuning in. All right. Let's see. Got some questions in the TikTok chat. Ken, the content coach, what's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. And the Mary Ellie show shared my live video. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't even know you could share a video. Is that something I could like ask you guys to do? Share my live video. Share my live video, y'all. I didn't know that's TikTok is saying encourage more viewers to share. Share my live video, y'all. I didn't know that was something I could do. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. All right. So let me know what your questions in. I've made it 23 minutes into the live stream without coughing. And the Mary Ellie's show said, haha, it's a thing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Daljimara just shared my live video. Thank you. Your fave margarita just joined. I guess this is a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. See how much of a TikTok noob I am, you guys? I really I oftentimes feel like I have no idea what I'm doing on the app, but I am trying, and I'm almost at 6,000 followers on TikTok. That it's crazy. It's always very, very interesting to me, the stuff that pops off on TikTok and reels and stuff like that. Because I sometimes I'll do something, I'll be like, oh, that's definitely gonna do well, and then it like gets like 200 views, and then something I'll film in like 30 seconds will like pop off 10,000 views. I'm like, what is going on here? I feel like I can't figure out the secret formula to TikTok. I guess that's part of the fun. Oh my goodness. Harris Papery said, that's why the contract part is so confusing to me. Most brands that reach out to me don't have one. So Harris, the advice that I would give to you in this situation would be to invest in getting a contract template from a lawyer. Basically hire them for an hour or two of time and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm creating content on the internet for brands. I would love if you could create a boilerplate template for me. And all I need to do is change the appendix, right? So the only page that you're editing is going to be the very final page of the agreement. And it's going to articulate exactly what you're saying you're going to do. How many posts you're going to make, which platforms, right? What's the exclusivity terms? What are the usage rights? Yada, yada, yada. And you just like enumerate that. And that's the only page that you edit is the final page. It is worth it. Even if you don't have a deal that you're currently working on, this is a business expense. You need to be protected. And you need to, the point of a contract is not so you can take them to court if they don't hold up to the letter of the law of the agreement. The point is that there's a heightened level of accountability and responsibility, right? When you both sign on the dotted line. And so in any business, you make an investment into the business, right? To actually make revenue, right? And so that's what this is that get a contract, hire a lawyer for an hour, 2, 3 hours. Yeah, it may cost a couple $100, $1,000 to get this contract template. But at least now you have a baseline of expectations of what, you're going to do and what the brand is going to do, and you'll feel a lot better about it. So this is a tip that I can always give. Hello, happy mom in the IG chat said, best investment I made was a contract template. Thank you. Exactly. This is absolutely something that I recommend. 100% is like such a great investment you can make for your creator career. Yeah, Ken, the content coach, says, yeah, every platform pops content different. Also, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The Social Lounge, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. And Social Lounge, did you tune in from the Marielli show sharing it? Maybe you did. I don't know. So if you did, thank you. Mel's marketing and by the way, if those of you who are tuning in right now can't tell, I am absolutely under the weather right now, but I am powering through it. I'm not sure how much longer I can last because I can feel my voice starting to go, but I'm trying it. Mel's marketing CEO said, "What would you recommend for new UGC creators that don't have a portfolio to show the brand?" UGC, for those of you guys who don't know, is user-generated content. And my recommendation for you my recommendation for new UGC creators that don't have a portfolio to show a brand is to create content on your own with brands who have not reached out to you. You can create representative pieces of content to illustrate your capability and your expertise. Right. So you go out there, you buy your favorite, product, you go find out, create a piece of content, 30-second reel, 30-second TikTok, whatever. Pardon me. I told you I could feel it. So you go and you create oh my God. Yeah, this is not going to go well, guys. So you go out there and you create a compelling piece of content that you can then show to the brand and say, hey, if you hired me, this is what I can do for you. Right? You don't have to be hired by a brand to make a piece of content and that you can do great work. So go out there and make 10 videos with 10 different products in a bunch of different categories. Maybe you're trying to go after food. You're trying to go after, direct to consumer brands, or you're trying to go after whatever you're trying to go after. You go out there and purchase, maybe you have them laying around your house. You can do this today. You go make those videos and then you fill up your portfolio with that. Right. And so that's how you get early traction. You could say, hey, I have an example video exactly, of your, product category. This is how I can bring it to life. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm sorry. Coco, what's up, Coco? Long time no see. I haven't seen you in a while. Coco says, is it common for brands to reach out with deals that are actually scams? Lately, I've been getting a lot of fishy-looking emails. Yeah, so it is, I don't know if I would say common, but it happens. I've actually gotten some emails forwarded to me from some other creators who are questioning this, where they had gotten, basically the point of a lot of these scams is a lot of it is like identity theft, trying to take over your social media platforms to shill cryptocurrency or something like that. And so they'll say, hey, okay, they negotiate with the brand for, 3 or 4 emails. And then finally brand says, okay, we're ready to make this deal. Click here and download this zip file, which contains the contract or something like that. And the creator's like, oh, that seems fishy. And of course, like the moment that you download the zip file, it installs like malware, or it takes you to a page where or they'll say, hey, click here to like authenticate your social platform so that we can see your metrics. And then it like clicks to a scammy site where you have to like enter your YouTube password or your TikTok password or something. And then all of a sudden you lose control. So that's the reason that they do these types of scams. And so you definitely need to like watch your back and make sure. I actually have a whole video on my YouTube channel called Sponsorship Scams and How to Avoid Them. And so I would highly recommend you watch that because I actually go through real sponsorship scam emails that other creators forwarded me and ones that my wife and me have received over the years. And so I kind of analyze like the different ways in which they try and get you. And so you do need to watch your back. So it is a thing for sure. Oh my goodness, you guys, I think I'm gonna need to end this chat early. I'm so sorry. I usually go for the full hour, but I'm not feeling great. I thought I was gonna be okay. I woke up feeling pretty good, but I think I'm gonna have to cut it short today. I hope the few tips that I gave around how to handle brands with demanding requests were helpful. Hopefully next week I will be at full health. But I hope you appreciate the 30 minutes that I did show up today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.